Gotcha for Life and Black Magic Woman podcast acknowledges the traditional owners of the land which we recorded this episode. We also acknowledge the traditional owners of the land from where you, the listener or viewer, are tuning in. We would like to pay our respects to elders both past and present. We acknowledge that this land always was and always will be Aboriginal land. This podcast talks about mental health, suicide, and lived experience. If that brings anything up for you, please take care while listening. And remember, you don't need to worry alone. Welcome to Mental Fitness Conversations, a podcast about how real people build their mental fitness through connection, community, and simple everyday actions. Brought to you by Gotcha for Life in partnership with Black Magic Woman. Here's your host, Mundanara Bayles.
Welcome to this amazing episode, which is part of the Gotcha for Life and Black Magic Woman Mental Fitness Conversations. It's a partnership with an amazing foundation that's doing some incredible work out in the community, especially when it comes to primary school children, about building mental fitness. Now, what does that mean? We're going to have this deadly yarn with my guest on the show today, who you probably already recognise. And if you don't, then Felicia Foxx, aka Wendell French, we would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience. Who are you? Where do you come from? Who's your mob?
Yama, my name is Wendell French, aka Felicia Foxx, the Aboriginal Enchantress,
and
the realest titter of Sydney. I am originally from Campbelltown, born and bred, but my mob are Kamilaroi and Dhunghutti. And, you know, I grew up out in Campbelltown. I started my drag career at the age of 15, and I started my career to inspire other young Indigenous youth who wanted to participate in the art of drag. And, you know, being a drag queen, I have the duality of having my mask self and my feminine self. So, you know, just getting out there, truth-telling and being myself. But, watch this space, because Felicia Foxx got some big deadly things on the horizon. Well,
watch your space. Just to have you part of this important conversation, especially with, like you said, at 15, you went into drag. You knew that this is what you wanted to do, that you knew who you wanted to be.
Yeah.
And at what cost for you to be your true, authentic self? Did you lose family? Did you lose respect from your community? Did your mum and dad embrace you? Like, what did it come at a cost in that way in terms of relationships and respect?
I think definitely, because I dropped out of school very early. I lost a lot of friends once I did come out in school. Once I said that, you know, I am a gay man, I lost a lot of my guy friends that thought maybe I wanted to be with them, but it was like, no, I'm a gay man, and just because I'm gay doesn't mean I'm attracted to every other male that comes into my vicinity. But you know, in terms of my drag, I lost a lot of, I guess, family that were never really supportive and that have always been homophobic and still just ignorant, but very uneducated around why I participate in the art of drag and utilize my platform in drag to, you know, smash these stigmas and break down these barriers that our mob have been trying to overcome for many, many years.
And this conversation is so important to not just First Nations mob, our mob, but to all peoples from all walks of life that haven't yet been able to really just live their life on their terms. And that's what I love about you. When I see you out there representing your people, your community, our culture, you just do it with so much pride, so much passion. Our families and our community mean a lot to us, and some of the stigma and prejudices that you've experienced, I'm sure that has taken a toll on your mental health.
You know, 100,000%. And, you know, after, you know, we were talking about it before, what I wore this year for the Sydney Mardi Gras Parade, and the theme was free to be. So to me, and the way I interpreted it, I am a proud gay Aboriginal man who participates in the art of drag. But this year for my outfit, I wanted to strip back all the layers of makeup that I would normally put on, the wigs and everything. And the only thing that I had on my body that adorned myself that was real gay were my thigh-high pleasers, my stripper heels. And, you know, I went and did my cultural protocols. I went and made sure I spoke to my Uncle Raymond Wetherall. He's a proud Kamilaroi man. And, you know, I asked him how I should have painted myself. And the ochre was actually, it came from the Barwon River in the Narwin. So it was so much more detrimental to me, and it meant so much more knowing that it came from my actual hometown up in Walgett. And, you know, a lot of the mob that were going against me and didn't like what I was wearing, They were saying that I was sexualizing our culture, and there are a lot of other negative things that were out there in the media. And, you know, at the end of the day, I think it took away from what message I really wanted to portray, because you can be a proud gay Aboriginal man, and you can, whether you're a drag queen, whether you're a singer, whatever else, whatever art you're in, whatever industry you're in, you can merge the two, and it makes your message so much more powerful. And, you know, when I walked that parade, I thought it was the most proudest moment when I wore that Aboriginal sequin flag dress, and I'm tearing up now, but that was probably one of the best ever Mardi Gras outfits I have ever worn. And I just hope that, you know, a younger little black fella or any other little queer person out there, whether they're black, purple, don't matter what race, I hope they just saw someone who was in their art form, but also, you know, having their culture there as well.
Yeah, strong in culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no shame in being both. However you want to express yourself, to not be shame about it, or not see it as, I don't want to upset my family or my community. And like you said, you spoke to your elders.
Yeah.
And the significance of that ochre from your own river, from your community, that wasn't spoken about. You know what I mean? Those other elements that was part of your outfit with your lap, and you went out there and for you had the best time of your life, according to the theme as well. Like it was aligned to the theme.
Yeah, free to be.
And you weren't exactly, I don't know, you didn't really get the community's approval to be who you are. And that's really interesting, isn't it? We are navigating life. We are navigating the Western world and the Aboriginal world. And we're told to be our true authentic selves, or to bring our full selves to work.
Yeah.
But then if you want to do something that, you know, that's not the social norm, then you're quickly kind of cancelled. How did you, or who did you speak to? Like, how did you navigate those moments when you're on your own reading some of those negative comments?
You know, I'm very grateful to have a drag family. I've got 5 sisters in the house and a drag mum. But, you know, that's one of my main support circles that I go to lean back on. You know, being in the media as a drag queen, I'm constantly spoken about, and especially after Mardi Gras. Literally, I'd look at my phone and my phone was just blowing up. I was in all these different articles, and it was all negative. There was not one positive article that I've seen. But, you know, being in the drag industry for 11 years this year, that's crazy to say, and I only turned 25 today.
Oh, awesome. Happy birthday.
Thank you. One of the biggest things I've learned to navigate through social media, being a drag queen, is by not looking for the negative comments and not diving into all the negativity that's spoken about. And before, I used to be the person that would fight the negative comments back at them, and then I'd be drained. And then, you know, when I had my next gig or had to go do an appearance out in the community, I felt drained and I felt defeated. When now I'm investing all my energy and everything back into, you know, keeping everything positive and using my platform for the right reasons, and not, you know, fighting hate with hate, because at the end of the day, you can't have no resolution or any positive outcome by fighting hate with hate. I
agree with you, and I tend to, you know, I try not to look at the comments when it comes to any black fella in the media. And I'll use an example, little Quaden, my little nephew, Quaden Bayles. Still today, if you see a positive post about him appearing on a red carpet because he's in a film or whatever, you look at the comments and it is 95% negative, and it's bullying. And it's mainly adults bullying a 15-year-old kid. So how do you then kind of, I don't know, not protect yourself, but how do you kind of support yourself? Like, do you ring people? Do you talk to people? Have you found yourself engaging with, I know 13 Yarn has been some of the guests on this show have had no shame in saying, I've rang that number so many times to talk to a black fella, because only black fellas could really relate to what we're going through. Who's the people you reach out to other than your drag queen, the drag family?
You know, I go to a counsellor. I've been seeing a counsellor for the last 4 months. And, you know, before I started seeing this counsellor, I was shopping around like mad. Couldn't find a good one that I actually connected with, and one that actually sat there and, you know, not just sat there as a pair of ears. He's actually been guiding me he's a white gay fella and I'm a queer black fella. So I've found a really good counsellor, but just the conversations that I do have are very instrumental to my life, what I'm going through like right now. And I don't think if I was seeing this counsellor, I think, you know, I was going through a breakup a couple of weeks ago and I was in a very dark, depressed place, you know, lost 15 kilos and, you know, literally I probably called my counsellor about 2-3 times a day the other week and just sitting in my room depressed. And, you know, and I found power and strength in speaking to that counsellor, in, you know, admitting to myself that I was going back into a depression just by looking at the state of my room and, you know, my mental state. So, you know, it is very vital that you do have a counsellor or someone that you feel very safe and comfortable with to talk to about all your problems and issues.
And I think that's a really important message for anyone listening to this conversation, about speaking to someone. Talk if you're noticing, you know, some of your own kind of habits of slipping back into depression or feeling low on energy, feeling like you can't, you know, get out and face the world. But you start to, it's sometimes you don't notice that you're slipping back into depression. Other people might say, hey, what's going on? Some people might recognize that. But it's also really good that you've gotten to a point where you know when you're not feeling okay.
Yeah, 100%. Like the first indicator for me of my son going back into depression was my room. Like I'd wake up every morning, make my bed. My room was always spick and span.
It's routine, right?
Yeah, and then once I seen like myself dropping out of that routine and wasn't doing all the things that I would normally do, going for my runs of a morning time, I would wake up at 4:30, go for my 16-kilometer run. But you know, I've stopped doing that, and I've only just started to do that again. It was just like I neglected myself whilst I was coming out of that relationship in depression. But now the only person that matters is me. So, you know, I'm rewarding myself by going to see a counsellor, and that's probably one of the most rewarding things that I've done since the breakup, and just speaking and putting all my issues out there on the table.
I love it. I love it. And then finding other opportunities to fill your cup. What are you doing with your life at the moment? Tell me about what keeps you busy.
Well, I've just launched a new company. It's called Rainbow Emu Entertainment, and I have a lineup roster of 8 other drag queens that I manage now. And, you know, our mission statement is to go around to all these venues in Sydney, especially Oxford Street, and have these places become predominantly black spaces, especially when it comes to their entertainment. You can go down Oxford Street now and there's not one Aboriginal drag queen that has a home venue down there. So our goal is to make sure that we are supportive of these younger drag queens that are up and coming. We've just got a deadly partnership with Krylon at the makeup shop. But, you know, when I first started drag, I never had no support. I never had, you know, the financial stability. I never had good people around me, and I was, you know, abusing substances back then. So now all I can do with the platform that I've created for myself is looking out for all these other younger people who want to come up and do what I'm doing. And all I can do is, you know, put my hands out there and say I'm here and to support and assist you in any way that you need.
Do you find people reaching out, like sliding into your DMs in a positive way?
Yes, yeah, in a very positive way.
And like younger people reaching out to you?
A lot of younger people, and you know what? I just got booked for a youth show in Kalgoorlie.
Never
been to Kalgoorlie before, so I'm excited for that. And yeah, going to do a big youth show down there.
Because there are a lot of brother boys and sister girls in our community.
Yeah.
And when we even look at some of the suicide rates amongst our mob, which we know are, you know, the worst in the world, especially when it comes to young Aboriginal people. But even in the, you know, the LGBTQI plus community, those rates are higher again. So being black, being queer, and even being a young person, there's all these odds stacked up against you and us as a people. How do we shift people's mentalities? How do we really kind of change people's perceptions to then be more accepting of all of us, no matter who we are and how we identify? What do you think what's some of the, I don't know, some of your words of wisdom that people that are listening to this podcast could learn from your experience?
I think it comes down to, you know, each individual at the end of the day. Once you do that groundwork with yourself and you're grounded in your own identity, then, you know, I used to be a very judgmental person. You know, I would see someone walking down the street and they look like a real duck and I'd be like, oh, look there, la. But, you know, I've stopped that over the years because I realized you don't know what anybody else is going through in their life to judge them or, you know, if someone has a different appearance or if they're trans or whatever else, who cares? And at the end of the day, if you're grounded in yourself and your identity and you know who you are, that leaves no time and space in your head to go and judge a person for them being, you know, stern in their identity or who they are. So to each individual out there, yeah, do your own groundwork on yourself and make sure that you love yourself, and the world will be a better place, because then we have no time for judgment and hate and negativity.
And talking about being grounded in your identity, how has your culture supported you in your journey of just being who you are?
I think my culture has definitely grounded me a lot more than anything else in my world, and having my culture, knowing where I come from and knowing my mob and my song lines and my storylines, it's the most grounding thing ever, and it makes me the strong, empowered, gay Aboriginal man that I am. And there's no way that Felicia Foxx would even exist if Wendell French didn't have my culture. And, you know, having that duality of my culture and my queerness and my sexual identity wouldn't be as strengthened if it wasn't for my culture. And I am the empowered being that I am today because of my culture.
And this is what we need to do. We need to try and empower other mob who haven't yet found, you know, the strength or the courage to be able to speak up openly without judgment. You know, that's what I find a lot in our community, that a lot of the younger people coming through are still trying to find, you know, who they can gravitate to, who's their community, who can they trust, who can they rely on. Yeah. And, you know, we need to be a little bit more open-minded. And I think just as a society that we're not as accepting and open-minded when it comes to people who are not like us. And what is the perfect or normal person meant to look like, right?
No such thing as normal.
There is no, you know, we are all our unique selves, and we should all, you know, it's like a human right when you think about it, you know, to be who you are and to reach your full potential in this life.
Yeah.
What would you say to a lot of the younger mob that are listening that want to be just like you? What would you say to them?
You know what, you're going to have a lot of mixed thoughts and mixed things coming through your head, and you're going to question whether you're this and that. You know what? Embrace whatever you're feeling in the moment and be who you are. Wear that piece of clothing, wear that, you know, accessory, wear that big fur coat down the street just to go get some bread and milk. Do whatever, you know. And it's literally that saying, you only live once. It would be so shit to die tomorrow and to be like, I could have done this, I could have done that, and I could have just been myself in life. So, and it shows, you know, when you see someone walking down the street and they're feeling that confidence and they've got that ooze, you can tell they are confident. Yeah, you know, just embrace every bit of yourself and never be scared or fearful of change, and just embrace the change that comes, you know. I never woke up one day and just became Felicia Foxx. You know, it took me a long time, and I'm still finding the duality between my femininity and my masculinity, and I embrace both every single day. Like tonight I'll be in a crop top, but I look like a big bloke here now.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong at all. I'm going to get my pedicure tomorrow and manicure, and just, you know, embrace it. And there's no right or wrong way to live life. As long as you're a true, genuine person and you're living true and authentically to yourself, then that's all that matters at the end of the day. And you will watch all the positive people come around you and colonate to you, because it vibrates off you when you're confident and you're positive and you're just doing you.
People just are drawn to that energy, right?
100%. Yeah, it's magnetic.
I was just going to say, in terms of like Gotcha for Life, our mission is around, you know, imagining a world without suicides. We talk about building our village so that nobody ever has to worry alone. What does mental fitness mean to you?
Mental fitness to me means, I suppose, like mentally working your brain out, so you know when you are in those times of distress, when you are, you know, in a depression or whatever you're going through and you feel alone, you know, the things that you do for your mind to keep away from those things. Like I've started journaling and didn't think I would ever start to journal. That's, you know, mental fitness to me. When I start to journal and I literally document throughout the day what I have to do, and that just makes my day so much better. And
it clears your mind. You're focused. you're outcomes driven, you got structure, you got your routine. I've been told a lot that it's cathartic to write what you're thinking, write what you're feeling. I've got a really good friend of mine and I love her, Maria Wamba. I call her my Wamba sister because she's got this amazing energy that I don't always have and just seems to be so uplifting and positive and happy and just this amazing person to be around.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like the people you have around you should bring out the best in you as well. So who is it around you that you feel brings the best out in you?
I'd definitely say my drag family. You know, no matter what I'm going through in my life and my drag family is around, they uplift me and they support me and they empower me to feel back on top of the world again. And they never ever make me feel shit.
Isn't that important, hey, to find your people in the world? To find the place where you feel that you belong.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like you don't belong or you don't fit in. And I'm sure you felt that many times.
100%. And, you know, when I'm in drag, I think that's another one of my big empowering things. When I'm out in community doing community work and, you know, I love when I go to gigs and it's community gigs and all the mob are coming up to me asking for photos and it's like, this is how I know I've made, you know, a good platform. I've got mob coming up to me left, right and centre asking for photos and wanting to have conversations. And that's what I love about my job. You know, I'd rather be booked at a community event than at some little gammon club on Oxford Street.
Yes, community. We do everything for our community, right?
Yeah.
It drives us. What's been one of your highlights if you think about your career so far? You're only, 25?
25, yeah.
So young, still got a long way to go.
A long, long way.
But talk us, what's some of your highlights? What are you most proud of? Some of your achievements?
I think one of the biggest things I've ever done in my career was, you know, walk at Australian Fashion Week as my drag persona. And that was the first time that was ever done. And
talk about breaking down barriers.
Yeah. And then the next morning woke up and I was published in Vogue. It was like, get out of here.
Stop.
Like, what?
You've been in Vogue?
In Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, Marie Claire, just to name a few.
Oh my gosh. All right. So you're making covers and you're in magazines.
Yeah, I had a whole centerfold in Harper's Bazaar. How crazy is that?
OMG.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? For a lot of us.
You know, just I have all the articles and clippings on my wall at home because that will forever be a proud moment because I've never in my life seen any representation of someone like me in the media growing up. A gay Aboriginal man that was participating in the art of drag. I never got to, you know, I was on that campaign We Are Warriors and to see it, you have to see it to be it. And that's probably the proudest moments that I've ever done because I hope that there are heaps of other little younger queer fellas out there that need to see that. To be like, oh, that's literally that's me. I can do that. I can be that. And, you know, the narrative was always written that we were never accepted in these places or we couldn't progress to these places. We were only ever supposed to be in nightclubs and pubs and whatever else doing drag. But, you know, it was like I've pushed for my drag to be at Australian Fashion Week runway. And
I was there with you. Yeah. I got to see you, hang out with you. There's positives of that attention.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of the negatives, and you did speak about it earlier with Mardi Gras in particular, that the outfit you chose to kind of align with the theme, a lot of the community didn't approve of that.
Yeah.
At Gotcha, we've got this amazing app that's very new, and it's a mental fitness gym. So I downloaded the app, right, and I put in, you know, my age and my, you know, I'm female and how I'm feeling. So it kind of builds a bit of a profile for you.
Yeah.
And every day I get a notification and you can send messages to people anonymous. You could just say, you know, be your best self today or whatever inspirational, motivational message that you want someone to hear. I think it's amazing that I get to check into this app, don't know who that person is sending me a message, and now I'm sending a message and I don't know who's going to get that. But I hope it reaches that person in that right moment. That they can just pick up a phone now and connect. We've also got 13 Yarn.
Yes.
We've got support services and resources at our fingertips that weren't ever available. Are there any other organisations or places that you've been able to seek support, whether it's to support you with your mental health or whether it's to support you with anything with health, wellness, just so people know that these services exist. And if we don't know about them, then people are not going to use them, right?
I think Odyssey House, if you're out there looking for a good counsellor, Odyssey House offer free counselling. And, you know, they have a wide range of counsellors there, but just the team that I have there are just absolutely amazing, have supported me through what I've been going through the last couple months. And yeah, so if you're looking for a good counsellor, definitely Odyssey House, hit them up.
And we're talking about culturally appropriate services as well for our mob. Come highly recommended by you.
100%, yes.
I love this. And this is what we need to do. We need to let people know that there are services out there that might not be community controlled. Aboriginal organisations. There are other organisations out there that are doing pretty deadly work. So Odyssey House, we'll make sure we've got that in our show notes. I've got this really kind of personal question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Is if you could go back to your 13-year-old self, what would you say to Wendell?
I'd say you've got a rough road ahead. There's going to be trials and tribulations. You know, there's going to be hurdles, but you're going to overcome them. There's a lot of shitty people out there in this world that are going to say negative things about you and put you down. You know, don't take that in and know that that little fire and that spark inside you is because you were going to be a fucking star. And you were born to be a star. You were put on this earth for a reason, and embrace every single day and just live it to the fullest. And know that you are a little black buju and be so fucking proud of yourself.
Power to you and much love
Thank you.
to you to keep showing up, because you could have turned your back with all of the negativity that's come at you, and you probably will still face as you keep pushing through and killing it.
Yes.
Right? Killing it in life with your new adventure. I just want to say congratulations on starting your own business.
Thank you so much.
It's not easy, but I'm here. There's a lot of us in business, a lot of black fellas that started with nothing, have come from nothing, and have built empires, have been able to create intergenerational wealth for our families and communities, and also in that process, breaking the cycle of intergenerational trauma. You know, this trauma is 250 years old. Our people are much older than that. Our culture is much older than that. So this strength-based approach to having these conversations around mental fitness, around building your village, I just can't say thank you. You know, I'm so grateful that you've been able to loan your voice to support Black Magic Woman and Gotcha for Life with this partnership series around building mental fitness, so that all of our mob just have the support they need, have the resources, have the tools to be able to speak up, to be able to call 13-Yarn, or even to check into an app that Gotcha for Life has just launched. So if there's any words of wisdom or any last kind of words of even inspiration, what do you want to leave people with? Last, you kind of thoughts.
I think that's to go out to any mob, you know, whether you're black, white, doesn't matter what color, what age. If you are going through anything, you know, you do have mob, you do have community. Make sure you lean on them in those times, you know, because like we're having right now, we're sitting here just having a conversation. That's all that is literally needed.
And having a cry.
And having a cry, letting those emotions out, and it's okay to feel that the way you're feeling. And don't put yourself for feeling down that and feeling that way. It's all right to feel that way. It's only human.
Well, it is your birthday. Enjoy this special day.
Thank you for having me, and yeah, stay safe to all the mob out there, and make sure you reach out when you need to reach out.
Too deadly. Well, all you mob, through the tears, the laughter, the joy, this is just who we are, and I love the fact that we can just talk freely and not hold back, because we're human at the end of the day. This has been an amazing opportunity for me to open the gate to our communities, to let more people in, or give them an insight into who we are and the lives that we live, and that we are pretty much just like everyone else. Sometimes, we're kind of pushed to the side, or we're in the background, and now we need to kind of be in the driver's seat. You know, we need to be the ones that are telling our stories on our terms. So thank you for being part of this amazing partnership with Gotcha for Life.
Thank you for having me.
And to all you mob, I know you would have enjoyed this deadly yarn. If you haven't been able to hear any of the other episodes, you need to subscribe wherever you get your podcast from. If you go to the iHeart app, it's free, but you can listen to the Black Magic Woman wherever you get your podcast from, or even on YouTube, and you can watch us yarn in person. So yeah, go rate it, review it, share the love, share this podcast, and tune in for the next episode of this amazing mental fitness conversations. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to Mental Fitness Conversations. Keep building your emotional muscles with the free Mental Fitness Gym app, packed with tools, tips, and everyday actions to support your mental fitness. Download it from the App Store or Google Play Store, or visit thementalfitnessgym.org. If anything in this episode brought something up for you, you don't have to worry alone. Reach out to a trusted friend or family member and know that support is available. You can contact Lifeline on 131114 or 13YARN at 139276 for free and confidential support for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a rating, share it with someone in your village, or drop us a message. We'd love to hear what you think. And don't forget to follow Black Magic Woman and Gotcha for Life on all socials to keep the conversation going.